Now, in verse 1 and 2 in Proverbs 29, if you got a Bible, I don't care what Bible you got, long as it's not a pink Bible. He that being often reproved hardeneth his neck shall suddenly be destroyed, and that without remedy. Your Revised Standard Version, since I have a Bible with the King James and a Revised Standard Version opposite it, I'm not a RSV person, but since it's here, I'll read that. It says, he who is often reproved, yet stiffens his neck, will suddenly be broken beyond healing. Now, I like that rendering. Now, God has told us many times in here, and He said it this morning, He's been telling this group here quite a while, that if you keep pushing Him so far, the day will come when you will cry out, and God will not listen to you. The day will come, you keep rebelling like hell against God, and keep a bad attitude, and keep snipping at God's messengers, and don't like what He's got to say, and you always got a gripe, you always got a complaint, you always got a bad attitude. The day will come when God will allow pressure upon you, and you will cry out for help, and God won't help you. Well, what happened to the loving God? That is love. That is love. It is love when it comes to extreme crises that we have in America today, to cut some of these leeches and these suckers off so the vine can flourish a little bit better. And that's what He's going to do. Now, literally, in your Hebrew, a literal rendering there, because this is Old Testament, it talks about a man of reproofs who hardens his neck shall suddenly be broken and no healing. It says the same thing. King James, Revised Standard Version, Hebrew text, it all says the same thing. What it is saying, notice the word, my friend, often reproved. Often reproved. Oh, we get so many complaints that God is a God of love. God would never send anybody to hell. God does not send anyone to hell, dear one. You choose to go there by rejecting God's counsel and His reproofs and turning from your wicked ways. You send yourself to hell. The word often means people that are often reproved and corrected, and they don't take it. They keep stiffening up their necks and harden their hearts until there is no healing for them. Then you have chose your own destiny, and if it's hellfire, that's where you're going, because that's what you chose. Oh, God would never send anybody to hell to torture them in the flames forever. Ha 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 ha. No, God ain't going to send you to hell. You're taking yourself there. He don't need demons down there with pitchforks roasting you with open fire, and little chestnuts in there with it too on Christmas Day. That doesn't need to be. That's what you want. That's where you're going to go. All right. Verse 2. This is connected. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. There's an opposite to that. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. This is what we've got, friend. This is the crux, the center focus, the centerpiece, the heart of the matter of everything I'm trying to deliver, or what God's been trying to get through some people's thick heads, is we have people that bear rule that are very wicked. They're in the government, and they're in the government of the church. How do you think these people come up with a book on queer theology if it didn't come right out of the church? This is not a secular book. That is a religious book, published, mind you, by a religious publisher. And the man that wrote that article said 50 years ago they would never even dream of publishing a pile of garbage like that, but now they're doing it. Why? They've been infected with this PC crap. PCism. The government says we can't discriminate. Who says? I will discriminate if God does, and God does. They're not going to tell me who I can say is right and wrong. It tells you very plainly, when the evil people bear rule, the people are in misery. And even the people that elected that idiot called your president right now, 40% of them that elected him are despising that they ever did that. They're even beginning to believe he is insane, and he is insane. But I got news for you, sweetheart. God put that man in that position. God allowed that man to be a president of this country because he is a reflection of your stinking stiff-neck, your hard-heartedness, and your perversion, church alike. When you look at him, you're seeing yourself. You look at the government, you're seeing the government of your own church. There's no difference. That's why he is there. That's why he's doing what he's doing. Because this is what you people wanted. You wanted perversion. You wanted evil. You wanted filth above God's law. You've got it. And he's making it law of the land. But it doesn't matter. Law of the land, God will bring forth his punishment because of that. Read it for yourself. It's all through the Old Testament. It's all through the New Testament. Read about the Revelation. When the woman's cup is full, then God pours out his fury, his wrath in the nation. When the cup is full, he doubles it. America's cup is full of filth. Now he's going to double the punishment for that. You wasn't happy with, the good old days in the church. You weren't happy with consecration and dedication to God. No. One nation under fag now. One nation under fag. Oh, forget the flag. We want the fag. You got it. Now, 2% or 3% at the most rule this nation with terror. Queers are terrorists. They terrorize this nation. And the government has made hate laws to back that up. That you can be punished for speaking out, even thinking evil of these perverts. Well, here I am. I live at Fence Lake. And you know who we are, and we've been saying this, and I'm going to continue to say it. Murder is an abomination. Idolatry is an abomination. Homosexuality, adultery, fornication, incest, bestiality, perversion, pedophile, all that is an abomination. Incest is an abomination. Theft is an abomination. It's a sin. And this country thrives, literally lives for these things. And you think God is going to sit back and not punish this country? Sweet, you better grab a hold of your brain real quick, because he is going to punish it. He is punishing now. Some people are just becoming aware that God's angry. Well, I got news for you. He's been angry for a while. But God is long-suffering. He's patient. And you hear it right here. Those that he often reproves. And don't tell me, friend, that government that sits there in the district of corruption, and that man sitting in the pink house, don't tell me people has not told him he's wrong in what he's doing. I have told him myself. I told George Bush. We sent a lot of stuff to him, and he didn't listen. Nobody's going to listen. We sent stuff to Bill Clinton. He didn't listen. None of these perverts are going to listen, because God is going to bring forth his punishments. You wanted this, you got this. Now, I know there's people crying out for righteousness, but I tell you this about these phonies. They wouldn't last 24 hours a day if they had to be under the government of God like we in here live 7 days a week. They would hate it if they had to listen to God like we listen to God. Oh, God, we want to hear from you. You don't want to hear from God. You're a stinking phony just like everybody else out there. Churches are full of phonies. They wouldn't last a day if they couldn't have their filth. They couldn't have their freedoms. They couldn't have, the stuff that they thrive on. They would hate it if they had to be under the government of God. There's only a few people, friend, that would like to be under the government of God. All right. If you'll look over in verse 8 of 29, where it says, scornful men bring a city or a nation into a snare, but wise men turn away wrath. From all quarters of this nation, they scorn the old fogey ways of God. They detest and they're repulsed at the old paths of God, that men had to live upright, they had to obey to God. And I read it all the time. Oh, we're not supposed to be living under fear of an old God. We're supposed to have our liberties and freedoms. You've got them, honey. You can sin all you want to sin now. You just got the green light. God has said, go ahead, sin all you want. I'm not going to stop you. I've reproved you enough. Go ahead, and you will be punished for it. God's not going to stop you. He hasn't stopped this nation. We've got a law. They don't want this law book anymore. They trashed, keep God out of government, keep God out of the church long ago. Keep God out of the family. Let's have our sex. Let's have our freedoms. You know, that kind of stuff. Let's have our liberties. You've got them. You've got them. You're going to be punished with them. The very thing that you made an idol of, that idol is going to come and beat, I would like to say beat the hell out of you, but I doubt seriously it'll ever happen. You're so full of hell, I don't think God could ever do it. You know what? When people become full of hell, they're going to go to hell. Did you know when you're full of demons, you are a demon? And I don't mind telling you, I think 90% of the churches are demonized and are full of hell. And where does that leave the government? Worse off, friends, worse off. Scornful men, bringing city into a snare. Men that have scorned the Bible, men have scorned God's law, men have scorned the walking upright and keeping yourself clean. They've scorned it, and they have brought this nation into a snare. A snare is like a trap. It's closed up on it and it can't get out. I know. I grew up trapping. I used to have a trap line, man. And you see some of the little animals called my traps, or one of those legs in there trying to get away, and they'd just be pitiful. And that's what she was doing. You'd go up, pull out my knife, and hit them over the head, and they'd be dead. It used to hurt me to do that, but, you know, I made money trapping. It's terrible seeing an animal caught in a trap and can't get out. Not only is it painful, it just can't get away from the person that trapped it. Dear one, I'm telling you something today. If you are in a snare of the devil, you ain't going to get away from the devil until you are delivered by a supernatural act of God. And if the God you're rejecting, you don't get any deliverance. If they have rejected God, who's going to deliver this nation from the snare it's in? It's terrible seeing an animal caught in a trap and can't get out. Not only is it painful, it just can't get away from the person that trapped it. Dear one, I'm telling you something today. If you are in a snare of the devil, you ain't going to get away from the devil until you are delivered by a supernatural act of God. And if the God you're rejecting, you don't get any deliverance. If they have rejected God, who's going to deliver this nation from the snare it's in? I don't care if they have 1,000,000 councils out there with all the big heads out there and try to figure out how to solve the problems of America. They're not going to be solved. They're going to be dissolved. Because God is going to dissolve and break up this nation, because you have dissolved and broke up His word and you trashed it. God said He's going to break this nation up. And He says, don't worry about when I do it. In my timing, I will do it. I'm already hearing it. There's states right now that want to be annexed from America. I'm one of them. I want to be my own nation under God. Well, I am already. We are already. I'm not letting the government rule over us, but I'm talking about officially by God's decree. And there's people already in this nation that's so disgruntled with the politics of this nation and with the religion of this nation, they are repulsed by it all, and they want to be totally separated from it. Well, it's going to come. It's going to come. Whether men work it up and dissolve it or break it down, it's still the hand of God, because God already said, I am doing this work. Just like when God put that man, your president, in that position, God says, I put that man in there to be a weapon of mass destruction. That man is destroying about everything. There went my beautiful flowers on the floor. It's okay. It ain't going to hurt nothing. I tell you, it'd be worse having a little vase on the floor with a few flowers and have somebody's dead bodies laying around, don't you think? How many's ever smelt a dead body? Huh? I have. I've seen dead people. Dear one, I don't want to see stacks of people stacked up. Now, continuing on with this, I'm out of time. I'm going to pick this up tomorrow. But my title is Masters of Misdirection. We have leaders in the government and we have leaders in the church that are misdirecting the people of God, the people of the nation. They're telling them, go over here on the left when we're supposed to be going on the right. We got to lead them over here instead of over here. They're misdirecting them on purpose, mind you, on purpose. You know why they're doing that? They're getting away from this old horrible book of laws. They hate this book. They hate the Bible. They hate to be told what to do. They hate the government of God.